Good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you are. Good evening. Hi, it's Blue. And
Hmm.
so, yes, it's another episode of where we are trying to live our better lives and find practical ways to make our dreams come true. So, of course, I've got the lovely Oluremi Sano with us.
Hi, everybody.
All right. And so today our topic is going to be mapping your moves to start a new business in 2025. And
Hmm.
if there's anybody that I know that could drive us to that pinnacle, it's you.
Thank
So
you.
everybody, now is the time to get your pen and paper and begin to take notes. All right. So let's map this thing. Talk to us. Let's go, Remy.
So it's good to just let people know. Hi, everybody. I'm Oluremi Sano, and I am founder CEO of Spark and Flow with Oluremi LLC, where I help people turn their passion and purpose into a viable nonprofit or for-profit social impact enterprise. So I wanted to say it's good to pick up where we left off because continuity is what a lot of people need, especially when we are helping inspire and ignite and bring them along. And so we want to be able to create that continuity in our series and our conversations about mapping your moves. So we started out with mapping your moves globally, like for people who want to map their moves and live outside of the US or live anywhere in the world. This year, how do you do that? And now we are going to mapping your moves with a business. How do you set up business? How do you start, grow, sustain, and maintain a business? And also, how do you fund that business? So we want to give people what I call the 1, 2, 3, and 4. I started making it very easy for people to learn in business because I'm an executive business coach. I coach over 200 for-profit and nonprofit entities across the United States and in West Africa. And so for me, it's very easy to break it down and put it in the 1, 2, 3, and 4. That way people can actualize what it is they're trying to do. So when we talk about mapping your business, we
Mhm.
definitely have to put it in steps. If we put it in steps, then people are able to execute a little bit better. And so the 1, 2, 3, and 4 in business is going to be, for the most part, setting your business up properly. So the filings, business filings, making sure that you understand what type of entity you want to set up, why you want to set up that type of entity, what are the thoughts about the long run, right? So people know things, simple things like a DBA, right? But a
Mhm.
DBA might not be something that might protect you all the way for the long run. People know things like an LLC. Well, what is an LLC? Sometimes if you ask people to go further and define what an LLC is, a limited liability company, they might know the acronym, but they don't know the long term, and they also don't know what the protections are. So an
Mhm.
LLC is something that is going to protect you because it is a legal structure that if somebody tries to sue you in business, they can sue the structure and the entity and not you personally. So your personal assets are something that cannot be taken away if somebody goes into suit. And in business, a lot of times you can almost expect at least one time in life to be sued, to be disagreed with, to be just about anything. And you have to be able to expect that kind of stuff if you're going to be a business owner, because that comes with the territory a lot of times when people are dissatisfied. So you have to protect yourself upfront by knowing what kind of entity to set up. The other thing, an S corp or a C corp. A lot of times people are saying, well, what are the reasons why I would want to set up an S corp? What are the reasons why I would set up a C corp? S corp and C corp are usually for-profit entities. And what I tell people a lot of times is go sit down with someone, especially like a business attorney, and
Mhm.
figure out what it is you want to do long term, and have them break down all the legal rights and protections under each of those two entities if you're doing for-profit social impact enterprises for people who want to still make an impact, but they're not into just raw profits. They're definitely not into profits over people. And so a for-profit social impact enterprise is set up for profit, like my business is set up for profit, but it is a impact organization, and I intended to make a positive impact on the community and bring as many Black and Brown led and run organizations um, along with me, because that is the community that I intended to teach
Mhm.
with the information I have. It's set up like a nonprofit, but it's not a nonprofit. But you can still get the same types of benefits from grants by setting up a for-profit social impact enterprise.
That's what I was going to ask you. The because you called out the name, so it's for profit social
Social
enterprise.
impact enterprise. And so you can set a for-profit social impact enterprise up as an LLC, or you can set up as a mutual benefit organization, which is one of the categories in some states offer. And so you want to be able to just ask those immediate questions. Here's a good tip: talk to the people at your Secretary of State's office, get to know those people, because they are set up as a government entity for you, for the people. They're set up so that they can help and assist people set up their businesses. That's what they do. And so you want to get to know your Secretary of State in any state. You want to get to know their office. You want to get to know the comptroller's office, the people who control the money and the taxes. And you want
Mm-hmm.
to be able to get familiar with their online systems, because most of them have online systems that you can set up your entities. Okay, so those are the different structures. So that is one. That's number one on the 1, 2, 3, and 4. Number
Mm-hmm.
two, how much does it cost? Most people think it costs like millions of dollars or sometimes thousands of dollars to get a business started, but that's not true, right? It's not true. It's just simply not true. You can set up a DBA, which is a business structure. You can even run a whole DBA for 20, 30 years. I know a car dealership that's doing very well in California that's been a DBA for over 25 years. So they don't need another structure. They have tons of customers, tons of referrals, and they don't need a structure. They have good practice and good ethics, business ethics. They haven't had people come after them. So they set up their relationships with the community. So they haven't had to have all those legal protections. By the way they do business is how people take them in business. Do they have problems and issues? Yes, like everybody else. Disgruntled customers, yes. But a DBA is still a business structure. And so
Okay.
that costs, go ahead.
No. So them functioning as a DBA. So is it that they have their name, their own name, and then DBA, whatever they're doing business as?
Yes. So in my case, it would be Oluremi Sano, doing business as Spark and Flow.
All right. And so would we get a tax ID number for that or use our social?
You can just use your social, which is a sole proprietorship. That means you're the only person in business. Nobody's going in business with you, that type of thing. So, and you can get a simple DBA certificate from your county. That comes from the county. You don't have to go to the Secretary of State's office. You go straight to the county, and they usually give you the DBA on site. So the
Okay.
DBA certificate is something that you get the same day you file it, and it costs about $20, sometimes 24, sometimes 25, depending on your state. And don't quote that to any one state, because
Right.
they vary. Yes, sometimes I think Georgia's like 75, Virginia is like out there somewhere, but most of them have somewhere under $100 to get most of your certificates started.
So what about the protection that you talked about earlier with the LLC and S Corp and C Corp? What protections would come under, if any, with the DBA?
Well, with the DBA, you have to be ready to protect yourself. So you have to be able to find and get a lawyer, or know a lawyer, or be in touch with a lawyer. You don't have to necessarily have a lawyer on site or a lawyer on retainer. But one way to not have to use a lawyer is to have good business with people and good relationships. But it's also important to still have and know some business attorneys, tax attorneys, and other people. At least have them somewhere in your vicinity or in your reach, because you can run a DBA. Some people run DBA industries right from their house all their life. And it's fine. You run it, you get paid into your DBA. You can take a DBA certificate and go right to the bank and open it up in the name of your DBA, just like a business.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one. The LLC, or a regular certificate of formation for a business in your state, is going to be about $25 to $35. In some states, most states 75, and others. But then you're getting into, the certificate of formation is going to be 25, 35, but then your LLC itself is going to be about $300. So $300 to start your LLC. And again, those numbers vary by state. And then from there, you're off and running with a regular for-profit business. A nonprofit business, you have to get a certificate of formation from your state, and then the IRS application to go in for your 501c3. And they have two 501c3 applications. One is the Easy 501c3, which is the 1023 Easy. And that one is $275. The second one is just the regular 1023. Both of them supply you your 501c3, but one of them is going to be for businesses that want to get a quick start, 2 to 4 weeks turnaround time for your certificate. And the other one is going to take a little longer to turn around, but that's for people who have big goals, big dreams, big visions, and they know that their budget is going to start out really big. So the IRS asks them not to fill out the easy form if they know that they're going to start out with $1 million budget, or a budget, any budget over $50,000. They want you to start with the regular 1023. Here's
Okay.
the last thing before we go to the next point. So some people say, okay, if I start with a 1023 easy, what if I do really well and I shoot up really well and people start giving me donations, and or I get a big grant down the line before my first 3 years or so? That's something that's natural, that can happen. And the IRS does not stop you from taking those things, but they're trying to prevent fraud and people setting up dummy organizations just to get money in. So they have those different degradations of what do you call it? Gradations rather of different 501(c)(3)s.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So that's all your business structures. Then once you get it down, what you want to start, the two is, okay, what do I want to do? What do I want to name my business? What motivates me? What is my passion? What is my creative field and creative energy? What is it that I want to bring to the world? Is it a t-shirt business? Is it a business that helps people mentally stay well? Is it something where I want to just do something online with people and help motivate people online? Is it a course? What is it that I want to do? So you have to know what you want to do. And then it's good to have a coach to tell you and teach you what some of those things are and how, what it would take to get those things off the ground. So
Uh-huh.
you have the what, but then you have the how. And that's where people start to get to know themselves. Like if they put themselves in a work format where they have to start then building a business, then the how is going to teach you who you are,
Uh-huh.
because you have to go through different steps to make that how come into being also, right? So we have the what, we have the one, which was the business formation and entities. Then we have the two, what is it that I'm going to do? The three is, okay, now how am I going to do it? I particularly try to make that easy for my clients, because I like for my clients to have a complete checklist. Is what I call the complete checklist, the nonprofit organization complete checklist, or the for-profit social impact enterprise complete checklist, so that you don't have to go through all these things to figure out how and what you're going to do. What that does is it gets people out of their head. What's the name of your business, right? The intake sheet looks like this. What's the name of your business? Who's going to be involved? Do you have business officers, or do you have a board of directors? If so, who are those people? What are your program pillars going to be? 3 or 4, no more than that, so we can see what your service areas are going to be. So for profit or nonprofit, you need to know how you want to serve the community or impact the community. And then at the end, what is your salary requirement? How much do you want to make in your own business? You
Mm.
know, that's where we start. We don't do any more. We bite off what we can chew. That is the three. That is the three. So we
And what
want
I
people,
go ahead.
no, we want people to think, if I am pouring all this time and energy into someone else's entity for all these years and
Mm.
decades, how can I do the same thing for myself? And
Yes.
you can set the bar higher. If you feel like you've been giving over all your time and energy to someone else and you want to make a change this year, mapping your move, you should give yourself, number one, a timeline, 6 months to 12 months. And then you want to say, if this is what I'm making here in this job that I'm in, or this career field that I'm currently in, and I want to make this much, how can I do that with something that I love? And
Wow.
then you want to get a coach to help you map that out. That's the three. That
Well,
is the three.
one thing I can tell you is that when you were going through that checklist and saying you have this checklist, what I want to make sure that I tell the audience is not only do you have that checklist, but partnering with you, you hold us accountable as hell.
Yeah.
You
You have
stay
to.
on us. And I love that because a lot of times we get so busy with our lives that
Yep.
we have good intentions to go through with these processes, but life happens and we're putting things on the back burner. But
Uh-huh.
you are great at keeping us on point, holding us accountable, and getting it through to fruition. So
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. And guess what? That right there is a sermon, and it should be a whole nother part of this series. Why? Because that really is the reason, when people cannot see that that sometimes life is lifing, and it takes you away back and forth from the goals that you might have, which is fine and okay. But when that vision is blurred and people feel like they're not progressing, and then they have to find somewhere to place blame, they can place blame a lot of times on their coach or the person that's helping them with business. But the way that they don't do that is by having a checklist, because all we have to do at this point, and it took me some time to really develop that thorough checklist. I started out with a more simplified checklist and I expanded it over the years because I wanted people to know, hey, if you haven't done this, and this, then you can't come back and say this doesn't work. That
Right.
is an easy out for people, especially in America, because people are oriented that way to be like, oh, this doesn't work. It's a scam. I didn't do this. If somebody is winning with the same tools you're losing with, you have to go back to what the checklist is. That
Mm-hmm.
is such a sermon. It's such a sermon. And it really is one of the most difficult things that people have to deal with in coaching of any kind, of any people in any industry. Because if you're coaching people to move through a transformative education, which we talked about this last time too, the
Mm-hmm.
online education business right now, global business, a $362 billion business for educational technology, because people want to learn online. They want to learn fast. They don't want to be in a classroom. They want to be able to get what they need and apply it and make the money that they want. So if that's the case, you have to follow checklists. You have to follow, what is it that I need to do? What are the steps? And then once you follow the steps, it should be rinse and repeat. If you do the steps, this is what you get. These are the outcomes. If you do not do the steps, you have to say, where did I get off? Where did my
Mm-hmm.
life start lifing? How do these things converge? So thanks for bringing that point up, because that was sheesh. It's one of the things I deal with the most.
Well, I just made a note here that we're going to make that in and of itself an episode.
An episode, a whole episode. We can even have some people testimonials. I have some really good ones. I have some testimonials of people who fell off, got knocked down by obstacles, got back up. I could just tell you all the stories because I have to hear all the stories, just like the neighborhood hairdresser who has to hear all the life of people. When you're a coach, a business coach, you have to hear everything that's going on with people because it affects what they do or what they're not doing.
Mm.
So we did the 1, 2, 3, and now the 4. The 4 is practical application of those things. And the easier that someone can make it that's coaching for you, the easier it is to apply. So then you want to be like, okay, I know I have to get my business license. So how do I do that? The way I do it, we get on a Zoom and we do it together. So
Mm.
you can see how it's done. So then if you want to do it down the line again, you should do that. I just heard a really great under 3 minute Instagram post today about a young lady talking about 5 LLCs, setting up 5 LLCs, and why people should do that. That's more advanced. But what I want to say about that is, when people make the steps easy for you to understand, they're easy to apply. And so
Mm.
now we're talking about applied knowledge. We're not talking about theoretical knowledge. You're talking about how do we make it applicable to the ordinary person. So we set up a Zoom and we hop on and we do that certificate of formation. And then we do your LLC, or then we do your 501c3 application. Once we go from there, what next? The what next is, okay, you got the business name, you made sure that it was available, you paid your fee to the state, you paid your fee to the feds. Now we are going to set up a business plan. That is the 4. You have to have a business plan of some kind. And it needs to be a thorough business plan that tells people, one, the narrative. Who are you and what is that you do? What is your experience? What it is you want to, how it is you want to impact the community. Number 2, you have to have a budget. And
Mm-hmm.
can you believe that people operate for years, even in business with a business license, without a budget? Because
Hmm.
when I get people, I get 50% of the people that are starting their businesses brand new and 50% of the people that already have an entity. Many of those who have entities don't have budgets.
Wow.
Yes,
That's
they don't
shocking.
have budgets. It's shocking. They don't go by budgets. And so one of the things that we're doing this year is we brought in a lot of automations and we brought in a team. We also brought in a partner organization that helps people with their the 5 strict rubrics of business. And that really helps them with a data-driven understanding of their business. If you don't have a data-driven understanding of your business, you don't know your numbers. You cannot articulate that to someone. you don't have it down quarterly where you could pull a report and then show someone, then you are limiting yourself from funding. So when we talk about these businesses and then want funding or want grants or anything like that, whether it's for profit or nonprofit, you have to have an understanding of your business. And the way to do that is to set up a business plan first. So we have a business plan if it's for profit and an organization overview grant packet if it is a nonprofit, so that you can have everything you need: the narrative, the budget, the donor levels, the board of directors, and your articles of incorporation. That's for nonprofit. Business, you got to have the narrative, you got to have the budget, you got to have your capability statement, right? And then you want to have your goals and projections so that people can see it. If you're already in business, it's good to have some sort of profit and loss sheet so that people can see what you've done so far. How have you proven yourself in business? All that stuff together will bring you funding.
It's
So,
funny you should talk about that. I don't know how many times I've watched Shark Tank and they're asking what their projected valuation is for the business, and they can't successfully articulate that. And that boils down to them not knowing the numbers, not being, clued in on how your budget and how your finances are moving with your business. I've seen a lot of people on Shark Tank totally lose out because either they didn't know it or they guessed it and it didn't make sense and they broke it down. It's like, no, your business is not worth $50 billion, ma'am, sir.
right. And people that deal in numbers know that. That's why
Know
they
that.
can. Those people sitting there calculating. Not only are they calculating, because I watch Shark Tank too, it's one of my favorites. Not only are they calculating, but they are also calculating in how can I make profit off of this if I help them as an investor. So they have to be able to think quickly on the spot, and they have to be able to see how the numbers make sense or not. And you're absolutely right. People have to know their numbers. They have to know where they stand at all times. And it's really good 2 or 3 years in to get a valuation of your business and have somebody perform that for you so that you can explain it to you in a graph form so that you can understand what your business is worth, or what are your growth areas? Like, what do you have to work on in order for your business to be worth something? Some people are operating in deficit all the time. They don't even know it. They feel like they're in business. Here it is. Here we go with the business tools. So I gave this book, 2 books, to one of my clients recently. So it's two of my favorite books. E-Myth, right? The E-Myth, and really the newest one is called the E-Myth Revisited. And it was done by the Gerber Foundation, where they go in and talk to business owners who have been in business for decades. And they do interviews with all these business owners who have been in business, but many of them are right at the edge of not being in business. They also talk to some that have gone out of business. And so the stories will have had me in tears, because I've been a business owner since I was 26. So 30 strong years now. And at the time that I read the book, I was in I was in what we call let's see, I don't know if we can say business broke, but business broke is where a business is in business, the business is a viable business, is always flowing, and people are enjoying the services or the products or both. But they don't know what's going on behind closed doors, because you are doing everything you can as a busy business owner and a solopreneur to keep your doors open. But then you're right here at break even, or a little bit above break even, where you can pull out some money to just keep your head alive. And that's where most businesses operate. So that's a business broke, because you're not operating in a huge profit. You're barely operating in profit, and you're not operating in a huge profit. When you have a huge profit, you can be hands off. You could walk away from your business. Somebody else can run it. It can hum on its own. You can be gone for 2 weeks, come back, and your business is still running. But most businesses are not. And in your area, specifically DMV, we have more Black businesses in the DMV, small businesses. It's always been like that. It's one of the charms of being in that area, is seeing how many people have set up businesses and been there for years and decades. But many of them operate in a way where they are just keeping their doors open because that's all they really know how to do. And they've been doing it for so long. But that book, The E-Myth, talks about the myth of being in business, and how many businesses go out of business after or before the first 5 years, because they don't understand how to create a profitable sales engine, right?
Gotcha.
They don't understand how to create a profitable mechanism and a profitable system, and that runs their business, meaning like the numbers, the output, and making sure that they stay above their expenses, well above their expenses, where they pull a profit. So that book is good. The second one, Thick Face Black Heart. If you haven't read Thick Face Black Heart, or gotten the audio, you need to
Mm-hmm.
get that book. So I was talking to my client Amina, who recently just got it. She got it a few days ago, and I told her, and she started listening to the audio. She's a nurse, and a nurse at Emory for 30 years, and she's working on her business plan because she wants to make a transition to coaching and teaching other people about how to pass their nursing exam, what the practical sides of nursing, are, and how to help people make a smoother transition. Right. So she's creating two businesses. One is a course. We've already gotten her through most of that, and the other one
Mm-hmm.
is just a course, and the other one is a coaching business. She's doing very well, but the thing is, now you have to learn and think about some of these things ahead of time. Like, you're not trying to get in business just to be stressed like you are at a job. If you are
Mm-hmm.
stressed currently at your job, what we mean by map your move is this: we want you to do the 1, 2, 3, and 4. We want to help you on the front end. We want to help you have a smooth transition by setting goals, right? God goals, growing and glowing, right? That's what we're doing in 2025. We're doing spirit, we're setting our goals and creating deadlines, and then we are growing through the process, and then we are glowing after we achieve our mapped out goals. So this is something that's a system. With the 1, 2, 3, and 4 is something that anybody can do. They just need help. They need practical help, and we need to be about that. This is the goal of our series.
Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Oh, and so these are some good points that you've shared with us to ponder on and start planning. But we definitely have to have partnership with you. So, what's the best way for folks to reach out to you so they can move to the next step and have you go into partnership with them?
The best way is to go on the website, sparkandflow.biz. It's Spark, SPARKANDFLOW.biz, sparkandflow.biz. They can set up, they can go through the contact form and set up a call with me. They can also find me at Spark and Flow with Oluremi on Shopify. You can go to the Shopify store, and there's actually a set up a call, free consultation. There's a tab right there. You just hit free consultation. You choose your time because it goes straight to Calendly, and then that will send me a signal of what time you chose. We hop on a call and we map it out.
Sounds like a plan. Winner, winner.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Well, y'all, I hope that you took good notes, but even if you didn't, you can always reach out to Oluremi by the way of sparkandflow.biz or the other site that she also mentioned. Say it again.
Shopify.
Shopify.
Shopify. Let me tell you something. Shopify is also a tool that most business owners should know. If you're coaching, if you're selling anything, Shopify is a really, really good tool. I'm going to reach out to them. I told you this last time because we should be getting some feedback and kickback when we are mentioning these tools, but they're one of the best global tools to set your business up. Very easy to set up a landing page. They have emails, they have everything that you need in terms of tools. So you don't have to go out and buy all these different
Right.
email system. You got to buy a CRM. You got to buy, get one tool that allows you to do everything. You can set up a mini website in Shopify. A landing page really is all you need. You have your emails that you can set up email sequences. You can send them out on a timer. I mean, they have so many tools in there, and then they allow you to get your money without going through these other parties, which is the part I really like. It's, you don't have to go through PayPal. You don't have to go through other systems just to get your money. You connect your bank account and it goes from Shopify to you. They also have working capital. So for businesses that need money, you need to borrow money along the way, they can see how much you're making. So they'll set up some working capital for you.
Do you offer any, or is that part of any of your package to help with that? Because I know I need that. I've got a Shopify. I need to build that out.
I have a young man who is my direct technical assistant that I send that type of business to, and he will help you set it up. He does it's a very small fee. He's very good at it. And it's rinse and repeat for him. So it's like an a la carte service.
Okay, perfect. So maybe
Content by check.
Okay, so maybe you could talk to him and have him join you one day on one of our episodes.
I sure will. I sure will.
All right,
sure will.
that wraps it up for us here on the BluePrint. I thank you guys for joining us today. Again, this is Oluremi Sano and myself, Blue, and we will check in with y'all the next time. Want to see y'all make some progress on this journey.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button, please, and come on back. Bye now.